Hi everyone, I hope you have installed VS Code on your device. If you haven't, you need to install it before we can continue. You may need to speak to one of your peers, or you need to speak to me, come and see me, and I will show you how to install it. Anyway, so today what you're going to need is you'll need to have VS Code open. So I have it open here at the bottom, and you need to have your class notebook open, which is over here, and your work for today should be in independent work, and it's one called Intro to Web Development. Okay, so the other thing I would like you to have open is you should have an ICT folder on your device in Documents, ICT, and if you don't have one, I would like you to pause the video, and I would like you to create one now in order for you to complete this exercise. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to look at our notes. And we can see here today what we're going to do is we're going to look at what HTML, know what HTML is, know how to save, open an HTML file, and learn some basic code when creating a web page, and also learn something which we call syntax which is associated with HTML. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Markup, which is here, and language. You can fill that in if you like, or you can just Google it and see, so you can check the spelling. So, like I said, you should have VS Code installed. And what we're going to do is we're just going to produce a simple web page about meerkats. We're going to do meerkats, and we're going to do a web page for it. And here I've got some information on my web page. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to your ICT folder, and we're going to create two new folders. One is going to be called Web Design. Okay, and in Web Design, we're going to create another one called Project 01. Okay, I'm going to create that. So your work is going to be saved into this folder today. So I'm going to go into this one, and I'm going to go straight to VS Code. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file. So I can either press Control-N or New File, or I can click on New File here, whichever you prefer. If you can't see this, just go to File New. So I'm going to click on File New. It's going to ask me some information here, but I'm going to click on File, just so that it creates a file. And it's going to say what language do I want to do or program in. So we're going to say HTML, and now we're ready to start. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the information we have in OneNote, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy this into my web page. Now, before I do that, I'm just going to save it, and I'd like you to save your work as well. So if we press Control-S, we haven't saved it yet, and it's going to ask us where do we want to save it. So Control-S or File Save. Okay, so Control-S, and I'm going to go to my ICT folder, which should be somewhere, ICT, there we go, Web Design, Project 01, and we're going to call it, can you call it your name? I put Mr. Eckstein, and I'm just going to put yes, just so that I know which one this is, and possibly Project 01. Okay, and we're going to say Save. So we now have our project saved, and we can see there's nothing in here. Now, if I go back to my ICT folder, you can see the icon here on the side is a Chrome icon. And that just suggests that the application will open it when I double click on it will be Chrome. So let's double click on that. And Chrome has opened it, and you can see it's blank. There's nothing in it, but it has opened. If I want VS Code to open it, I will right click on it, and I can say open with VS Code. I've got two here, but you can open with VS Code or any other application, open with VS Code. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to select all of this, okay, all of this information, and we are going to paste it, copy, or Control-C, and we're going to paste it into our project. So I'm going to press Control-V or right-click, paste, and here we go. Now immediately, it looks different. Okay, let me just go to the other screen. You can see it looks different, and the reason for that is because VS Code has just put all the information into one line rather than sort of creating paragraphs. So what we can do is we can, on our keyboard, we can press Alt-Z or Alt-Z, and when we click that, Alt-Z, you can see it will create paragraphs and things like that. Okay, so let's quickly see what our web page looks like now, because it's now created an HTML page, and we've got some information in it. And we're going to go to our folder or to our browser because we still got it open. And if we press refresh, it should refresh here. So we press refresh. Okay, nothing is showing. Now, the reason why nothing is showing is because we need to go to VS Code and save this. So I'm going to press Ctrl S to save it, or you can go File and Save. But I think you need to start using shortcuts just to increase productivity and make sure we can work a lot quicker. So Ctrl S, and now if I go to Chrome and I refresh, you can see there's my information. Doesn't look very good, but we have now a web page and we've got Chrome displaying the web page. We could publish this, but obviously, as I said, it's not, it needs a lot of work. Okay, so HTML, or when we create a web page, in our HTML that we have here, we actually need to put some code in to tell our web browser what information we have. So for example, we have headings here, heading, 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 and we got 3 paragraphs, paragraph, 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 and we might argue that this is a paragraph as well, but we could use something else. So we can actually tell the web browser what we have. And what we do is we use what's called elements to identify what we have inside our web page. So today we're going to look at a heading element, we're going to look at a paragraph element, line break, bold, and underline. We're going to look at these ones quickly. So if I want to do a heading element, the code we're going to use is something that looks like this. And I'm going to do it here. I'm just going to copy and paste it here. And actually, I might actually just change the appearance of my screen. Okay, I think that looks better. You can give me some feedback to see which one you prefer, but I think this is going to be a little bit easier. So if I want to do a heading in VS Code, okay, and I want to say this is a heading, for example, I could use some coding, some elements that show the browser what I have in front of me. So if I press H, you can see that we have automatically like predictive text come up. All right, VS Code is sort of suggesting, oh, I think this is what I think you want to do. You want to do a header or you want to do something like that. So these ones are the headers, okay? And if I click on H1, I can either type it, but if I click on this, it's much quicker. What VS Code does is it actually types in the code for me. And you can see in my code, I have for header or for heading, I've got, I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to put it in here. Just paste it. Okay, make that bigger just so we can see it better. There we go. Okay, and we could possibly bold it. So here I have, so this is the coding I will use to identify my my heading element. And you can see what the coding that we use some syntax. So we use this. We're going to use these, which are called angle brackets. These are called angle brackets. And you've got your letters, you've got a closed angle bracket, open angle bracket, and you've got what's called a forward slash. Now, this is really important we don't get these wrong. So let's quickly do my header. All right, so what is going to be my header needs to be in between what's called the starting tag and the end tag. So I'm just going to take that quickly. All right, I'm going to cut that and I'm going to paste it between those two. So now I'm telling the browser, I'm saying to the browser, okay, what I have between the starting tag and the end tag, this is my heading or my header. So I'm going to save that and let's quickly see what it looks like. Let's have a quick look. So I'm going to refresh that and you can see it's made a header here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is if you look at your class notes, you'll see that not only do we have one header, but we've got sort of subheadings as well further down. So we're going to make this a header and this one as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3. So if we go back to our VS Code, let's find those headers quickly. So here's one. Okay, this one here and this one here. So what do you think we need to type? So this is H1. And in here, we are going to type in, just make an extra line, H2. Now, if I click on this with my mouse, it automatically creates the code. I can type in the code, but it's slower. And I'm going to take my heading, select my heading, so I'm going to cut that. I'm going to put it between the starting tag and the end tag. All right, let's check that quickly. So save it, go to my browser, refresh it, and you'll see it's created a heading. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Here's my next one. What do you think we're going to type now? H for header and H3 because it's the third header. And we need to put this header in between the starting tag and the end tag. But instead of moving the content, I'm going to move my tag. So I'm just selecting this, and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to paste it. Now, just something to point out when I do my header. You can see here in my notes, I know this is the end tag because it looks exactly the same as the start tag, but it's got a /, and that's how I know it's the end tag. Okay, so let's save that. Check my browser quickly. You can see I've got 1, 2, 3 headers. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to identify or tell the browser which are my paragraphs. And when we do paragraphs, the code for it is very similar with the exception that it's got a P inside instead of an H1. So this is a paragraph, but we look at my notes. Nope, wrong place. We can look at my notes. We can see we've got 1, 2, 3 paragraphs. So let's do that quickly. Now, paragraph, we don't have paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. We just have paragraphs. So click P, select my P here, and you can see it's got the starting tag and it's got the end tag. And I'm just going to quickly copy this because I'm going to paste it in my notes. Copy. I'm going to paste in my notes here. Okay, and remember the size. You said we're just going to make it bigger. There we go. And this is my paragraph. So paragraph starts here, so P tag there. I'm going to cut the end tag. Paragraph starts here and ends here. We can just paste it. We'll do the same here. Paragraph. Start tag here. End tag here, and we've got a third paragraph here. We're going to cut the end tag and paste it at the end. Now, save that. When I look at my web page, I'm going to refresh in a second, you'll see there is no difference. I think there might be a difference here. It might move this down, but let's have a quick look. There we go. So it moves that down, but everything else still looks the same. So don't worry about that, because later in next week's lesson, we're going to change the color and the size of the font. And then we need to know which are our paragraphs, because we're going to say something like change the color of paragraph to a certain color. So we need to know what are paragraphs. So here's my paragraph. Now we could do paragraph here as well, even though it's not a paragraph. We need to say paragraph. And we're going to take that and we're going to paste it here. Right, if we compare our website now to what we have here, there's a couple more things we need to do. You can see that some of my font is bold, and if you're not sure what bold means, bold just basically means if I take that, that's unbold and that's bold, it just makes the font line slightly thicker so it stands out a bit more. Now, if I look at my web page, you can see that my headings are already bold, so I don't need to bold those because they are already bold. But if I look at my notes, I can see that some elements like this is in bold, and I can see this is bold, and I can see this is bold, and the word boroughs is bold, and 5 separate boroughs. And we got to bold those. So we got to tell my browser that these words need to be in bold. So if we scroll down, we can see we're now going to do the bold element. And believe it or not, it's not that difficult. I'm sure you know what it is. The starting tag and the end tag is going to have the letter B inside it instead of the letter P. So let's quickly find those words. I'm going to quickly find those in my VS Code. Okay, and my VS Code is here. And the word that we're looking for is deserts and grasslands. I think it is. Let's have a quick look. Deserts and grasslands. And we're going to do a bold here. So we say B for bold. We can click on this and you can see it generates the code. I'm just going to copy that because that needs to go into my notes so I can remember what it is. I'm just going to scroll down quickly. Not line break, bold. Okay, and we're going to make the font bigger. And we've got that. We can bold it if we like. I didn't bold this one. Okay. Now again, what needs to be bold needs to go in between the starting tag and the end tag. So the position of this end tag is incorrect. So I'm just going to cut that. I'm going to paste it here. All right. Let's check quickly. I'm going to save that, go to my web browser. So we need to look carefully. This bit is the bit that needs to be in bold. So let's see if that's worked. And there we go. So I'm going to allow you now to go to look at your notes, and I would like you to try this on your own, where you are going to bold all the rest of the text that is in here. So you can go ahead and do that and then come back to the video. Alright, so now we can see when we refresh this, we've done all our bold items. You can see we've got some words that are in bold. Next one we're going to do is underline. We don't have too many things to underline. We've got a heading here, and we can see if we look at the headings are not underlined. And you may be able to guess that I'm just going to copy that and paste it. Let's just paste it here. That the element for underline, the starting tag, is going to be U for underline, and the end tag is going to be / U, like that. And we've got that. Now we're not going to do div, so don't worry about it. Let's just quickly do the underline. You can copy me, and you should seem to sort of get the hang of this. So this bit needs to be underlined. So U, click on that, and not UL, it's U. And we're going to cut that, and that needs to go to the end. Not the end here. It needs to sort of be embedded inside the heading. We're going to do the same here, and we can check our code in a second. I'm just going to do all three underlinings. And last one. And there we go. Let's save that. Let's check our work. And we should have our headings underlined. Now, something I didn't mention earlier is you'll notice that the headings, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, the font size decreases every time. So it's tempting to have these ones H2 and this one H2, but it becomes a problem further down the line. So keep them H2 and H3. Later on, we're going to change the size, but we're going to do it in a different way. But so leave them as H2 and H3. Okay, so what is next? What else do we need to do? Our last one we need to do is called line break. And all that line break does is, let's say, for example, if I look at my notes, I would like some additional space between this paragraph and this section here. Now, if I look at my VS Code, I can see that there is some space. Now, if I delete that, okay, you would think that this is closer to my paragraph. So I'm going to save that, go to my web page, look at the distance between these two bits of information. So I refresh that, you can see there's no difference. I increase it, okay, save it, go again, and you'll see it's still no difference. So in order for me to create additional lines between sections, I use what's called a line break. And a line break, in this case, only has a starting tag. It does not have an end tag. So I'm going to delete the end tag. And line break is break, so it is BR. So let's check that quickly and see if that is what we get. So I want a line, so about 4 lines. So BR, select that, BR, select that, BR, select, let's go back, sorry, too fast. Let's do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. It's actually a quicker way to do the 4, which I'll show you in a second. Save that, and now if we look at our web page, it should have 4 lines. There we go. Let's just see if I can do the quicker way. We're going to BR, and I can press Alt and arrow down, I think it is. Shift Alt and down arrow, and it just creates the lines for me automatically. It copies it. Okay, and that's it. All right, So you created some folders today. I'm going to show you how to upload it. You should know, but if you can't remember, it's fine. So let's say this is Rico's work. So Rico needs to go into her folder, and we are going to take this one. And what we're going to do is we're just going to drag and drop it into Teams, and then it copies across. Okay,